a starting point, and you count forward the amount of time specified there, 7 weeks, and 62 weeks, you should find Messiah at the end of that time period. So, this is very interesting. Now, at the time Daniel got this vision, just so that we have some background as to what's happening, you see over here where it says Daniel's vision, up in the corner there, if you can see. Daniel's vision of 70 weeks. There. The date given there is 538 BC. 538 BC. At that time, we have Medo-Persia ruling the world. They started ruling the world in 539 BC. Okay? So 1 year later, Daniel gets this vision about the Messiah coming. Now, previous to that, Babylon had been ruling the world, which started in 605 BC. At that time, Babylon captured Jerusalem and enslaved the Jews, and that began their 70 years of captivity in Babylon. Now, 19 years later here, the Jews began to get rebellious. So what Nebuchadnezzar did, he sent in one of his generals to Jerusalem and absolutely destroyed the city and the temple. We'll read this in 2 Kings chapter 25, verses 8 to 11. The Bible says, and in the 5th month, I want you to always notice something about the Bible. It gives dates. That's because the Bible is a prophetic book, and prophecy deals with dates. You must have an idea of dates in order to know if your prophecy, where you are in prophecy. So it gives a date here in 2 Kings verse 25, verse 8. And in the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, which is the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan. Nebuzaradan was captain of the guard and a servant of the king of Babylon. He came unto Jerusalem, and he burnt the house of the Lord. Now, the house of the Lord is the temple. He burnt the temple and the king's house and all the houses of Jerusalem. Every great man's house he burnt with fire. And all the army of the Chaldees that were with the captain of the guard break down the walls of Jerusalem round about. So they totally destroyed Jerusalem and the temple. Okay? And the Bible says the rest of the people, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried them away captive. Okay? So at the time of Daniel's vision, Jerusalem and the temple were in ruins. Good? And Daniel's temple, as we saw here, he burnt the house of the Lord, and down there, they break down the walls of Jerusalem round about. It was flattened. And so in Daniel's vision, we are told to look for the commandment to restore Jerusalem from destruction. And we see here 2 time periods given in the prophecy. Time period 1 was 7 weeks or 49 days, because 7 days in a week, 7 is 49. 7 weeks for the restoration and the rebuilding of Jerusalem, the streets and the wall. And then the second time period, after time period 1, there will be 62 weeks. Biblically, that is 62 weeks, or 434 days for the appearance of the Messiah. So now, the first thing we need to do with this prophecy is to find the command which was given to restore Jerusalem. That's the first thing we need to do. Get that command and establish what date it was given. Now, in Ezra chapter 7, verses 12 to 26, we find that commandment given. Artaxerxes, king of kings, unto Ezra the priest, a scribe of the law of the God of heaven, perfect peace, and at such a time, I make a decree that all they of the people of Israel and of his priests and Levites in my realm, which are minded of their own free will, to go up to Jerusalem, go with thee. And I'll continue off the screen. The Bible says in verse 14, for as much as thou art sent of the king and of his 7 counselors to inquire concerning Judah and Jerusalem, according to the law of thy God, to carry the silver and gold which the king and his counselors has freely offered unto the God of Israel, whose habitation is in Jerusalem, and all the silver and gold that thou canst find in all the province of Babylon, with the freewill offering of the people and of the priests, offering willingly for the house of their God which is in Jerusalem, that thou mayest buy speedily with this money bullocks, rams, lambs, with their meat offering and their drink offering, and offer them upon the altar of the house of your God which is in Jerusalem. Now what happened here? The temple had been rebuilt, but it was just a shell. And so Artaxerxes now is saying, look, Ezra, take money from the treasury and buy all you need to start up the temple again. Okay? And then in verse 18 he says, whatsoever seem good to thee and to thy brethren to do with the rest of the silver and gold, that do after the will of your God. Then it says in verse 21, even I, Artaxerxes the king, do make a decree to all the treasurers, that whatsoever Ezra the priest shall require of you, it be done speedily. So Artaxerxes is saying, look, Ezra, whatever you need, take it from my bank account, basically. Okay? And also, in verse 25, he told Ezra, set magistrates and judges, which may judge all the people that are beyond the river, all such as know the laws of thy God, and teach ye them that know not. And whosoever will not do the law of thy God and the law of the king, let judgment be executed speedily upon him. What this decree that Artaxerxes made, what it did, it restored the ecclesiastical, it restored the judicial, and it restored the state of Jerusalem, because you need the magistrates and the priest to run the state. Okay? So notice Ezra had instruction to set up the laws and everything like that. So this was the command given to restore Jerusalem. Right? Now, Artaxerxes, according to the history books, was an actual real Persian king. And that's a sculpture of his head. According to the Columbia Encyclopedia, Artaxerxes I died in 425 BC. He was the king of ancient Persia, and look at the duration of his reign. His duration of his reign here was 464 to 425 BC. And he was of the dynasty of Achaemenus. Artaxerxes is the Greek form of Ardashir the Persian. He was remembered warmly in the books of Ezra and Nehemiah because he authorized the revival of Judaism. So the encyclopedia confirms that Artaxerxes was the one that restored Jerusalem also, right? Now, when did Artaxerxes give his decree? Because remember, we are looking for a date to start counting to find the Messiah. Well, the Bible says in Ezra 7 verse 7, and there went up some of the children of Israel, and of the priests and the Levites and the singers and the porters and the Nethinims. These are all the people that go up to start the temple up in the 7th year of Artaxerxes the king. So that's a date given. Now, if Artaxerxes began his rule in 464 BC up there, then 7 years from that, remember we are counting BC now, so we minus 7 from 464, we get what? 457 BC. That is the date that we are going to start from counting to find this Messiah. So the Bible says, the prophecy says, know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem, in other words, that from 457 BC